Hey everybody, sorry I'm late. I had a phone call. I apologize. People tend to call me at the wrong times. Mr. Eve. Just kidding, it actually wasn't him this time. Hi everybody. So my lighting is a little weird today. I had to buy another one because you know how I do EVP stuff and they tend to break. Thanks, Kyle. Frat boy goes Kyle. Hi everybody. Brooke, glad to see you. My shed line's lovely to see you here. Creed Design from Belgium. Welcome in. I love it when I see people from all over the world come into my chat. It's so interesting because you never know who's watching and from where. You always think it's, from the States. And it's always good to have, different people from all over. Hi, Jen C. Hermit the Frog. Hey, Heather. Lovely to see you. Tip Turtle. Tiff says, listening while cleaning and running some errands. Thank you for bringing more attention to Sean's case. Absolutely. I actually have to give a shout out to Harsh Reality, who has been covering Sean's case very intently and habitually, and I appreciate Harsh's content, especially on the Kylie Rodney case, but in this instance, Sean's case, because nothing makes sense. Red flags everywhere. And there's just so many little things that make you go, huh? What? Are you kidding? Especially in a sense of law enforcement. And you know your girl Eve respects law enforcement. For the most part, law enforcement is does good things. However, they fail. And that's okay to admit that and say that. And I'm not gonna backtrack on that. Respect them, but I don't respect when they fail. And not do their job. We are taxpayers who pay them a service and we need a refund sometimes. Hey, who did I miss? Aaron Hicks, glad you're here. And if you're watching the replay, thank you for being here. I appreciate you. And go ahead and hit that like button and subscribe if you enjoy the content. So as you know, again, we are going over Sean. I am a East Texan who says Daugherty. Now, I have heard it say, like Harsh says it, Daugherty or Daugherty. I'm going to say Daugherty because I just know that if I try to say it either way, other than that, I'm going to mess up. So I apologize if I don't say it right, but Daugherty is where it's at, like the band. Daugherty. Thank you, Brooke. I'm not going to get it right, so I'm sorry. Daugherty. Is that right? Daugherty. Hey, I might have gotten it. So I apologize, but that's just the Texan in me, okay? I'm sorry. I'm Southern. Look at Brooke. She's spelling it out for me. I love you. I do, Brooke. Daugherty, because that's how I would look at it. But anyway, y'all know what I'm talking about. Oh, did I get it? Woo! Yay. I sometimes get things right. Just want to let you guys know that there is a lot of trigger warning material in this live. It's not for the faint of heart. It is about unaliving, lots of some graphic detail. It's hard to hear. It's hard to watch some of the footage that I'm going to play you in regards to what the family is stating about Sean's case. So if it's hard for you, please just be advised, and again, this channel is a true crime channel, but it is also for educational and entertainment purposes only. Anyone mentioned in this live is innocent until proven guilty by law. It's all speculation with a healthy dose of paranormal. Let's see what everybody's saying before I even begin, because again, I even need a minute to just go, okay, am I ready to do this again? Because I have been reviewing his case for 3 days off and on, and it's a lot. It's a lot. Aaron says, thank you for covering the case. So many red flags, but I'm open-minded. But yeah, thank you, Eve. We need your discernment. Thank you very much for being here. Absolutely want to cover cases that, even if they're not solved, right? A lot of times I cover cases that are unsolved, or missing children, missing persons. But sometimes there are cases that have been deemed, let's just say, a suicide, when in reality it's not. We have seen it in other cases, I'm sure, before. And what really struck me about this one, guys, is that I had a friend. I called him Enoch. All right, that was his last name. Back in my hometown, he was 11 years old, and he had kind of a hard time with schooling and family life and stuff like that. And he committed suicide by hanging himself in the similar way that Sean was found, and we'll get into that in a minute. But there were clear signs. I mean, clear signs that he was mentally ill, depressed, anxious, and all of those things that you would go, oh, okay, that makes a lot of sense. And I truly believe that that's what happened after kind of discussing it again. Because even I had a moment like, did that really happen that way? And it did. But with Sean's case, there is nothing to suggest the manner in which he was found and how law enforcement and investigators, what they said about how he passed and the medical examiner. And I just want to let you know that the parents of Sean Daugherty, they believe that this is foul play. So it's not like I'm going against the grain. For once, you'll see me actually agree with parents for once. Can you believe that? Doesn't happen often. But yeah, we're going to get into some pretty nitty gritty stuff. It's not for the faint of heart. And again, just be careful, because if it's too much, let me know. If you have any questions, just tell me. But it isn't easy. Who else is in the chat with me today? Something is not right in this case. You said it, sister. You said it. Aaron says, so young to take their own life, so hard to imagine a child in so much pain. There's just no way. Hey, Grammy H, lovely to see you. Michelle says, hi, Eve. Harsh is great in both true reactions, but Jules and Annie with 10 to life. Yes, I love her. They have covered it too, yes. Thank you, Eve, for bringing more awareness to Sean's case as well. You're amazing. Thank you, Michelle. I appreciate you being here. Absolutely. So let's just get into it, all right? So on April 14th, 2022, Sean Daugherty was watching his 2-year-old brother while his grandmother, who lives in the home, and his mother went to an appointment of hers, which was only supposed to take about 30 to 45 minutes. There is a video that I found recently on the What Happened to Sean Facebook page. This is a great place to go and support by hitting that like button and reading up on it if you have a chance. But on August 19th, they posted, on April 14th, Sean Daugherty passed away unexpectedly at his home in Yorktown, Virginia, under suspicious circumstances. He was a 6th grader at Tabb Middle School and was only 12 years old. Never in our wildest dreams, specifically in 2022, did we think that an investigation could be so biased and assumptions-based. We have been dismissed repeatedly. They will tell you we're crazy, unable to let it go. They will tell you it was a suicide and it's cut and dry case. They will say suicide never makes sense. All we ask is that you pull up a chair, hear us out, and come to your own conclusion. We think you'll agree that there are way too many things that do not add up. Help us find out what really happened to Sean. And then obviously, if you have any information that would aid this investigation, please email whathappenedtoshawn@gmail.com or the tip line. Now, I do believe that this is the family Facebook page as well as a potential private investigator. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure it says here private investigator under here. So maybe, they're helping with the case. And there's a video that I want you to see that kind of helps explain it way better than I could in a shorter amount of time with a lot more detail. But once we hear that, I want to ask you guys, what do you think about specifics in the case? I have some notes that I'm probably going to write even more on about things I've probably missed. But I have a ton of things that I'm just like, there ain't no way, y'all. There's just no way. And Harsh put it beautifully, like, how do you do this to yourself when you're watching your 2-year-old brother, whom you adore, who you love watching, Just finished your homework. Was going to go take out the trash because of his chores. It just doesn't make sense. Yeah, Tiff, the Facebook page is an amazing source. Like, usually you don't see that kind of detail, I didn't see it in, Summer Wells or Michael Vaughn's case. Obviously different circumstances, but anyway, blabbering. Let me get to this video. It's intense. Then we'll go into the section, the Facebook post that they did. It's very organized, and it's very, I appreciate how they did this. And I'm going to get into the law enforcement, the sheriff's office, and how they responded. I am pissed. I'm just going to be honest with you. This is so shameful how he reacted, in my opinion. And he's not listening to his community. That's just me. Cindy says, wow, a case with no drugs, no weapon, no political influence, but this baby boy has been robbed of life, evilness in the neighborhood. That's what I think. I think it's, yeah, I'll get into that. Heather says, hey, fam, I'm just quietly listening and working. This case breaks my soul all over again. I miss you all. I miss you too, honey. Glad you're here. Yeah, I love Harsh too. All right, let me find that. I think it's right here. Let's see. I'm going to pause, put my face off of here, and I'll be back. Trigger warning, be prepared.
They have told me a few times that they really don't know how to investigate this kind of murder case because it's really complicated.
That's Sean's mom.
They don't have the experience. They have never seen something like this before. Then please do me the favor and turn it over to the state police or FBI, who do it all the time.
Now, this little clip, I assume, is their camera because of the street, and I've done some research. I don't know that yet. But there was obviously a man walking right here, and I don't know when it was. I do need to ask maybe the family or the private investigator, which I have sent a message to them. But I just wanted you to know that I'm not sure about the details yet on this.
We just had amazing vacation. He just got back on a Sunday. It was the reward for the kids. He had got all A's. He was in a very good spirit. It was like a regular day. And my mom comes out. She's like in a hurry. The doctor's office called and said, hey, she needs an EKG. But the appointment is only 25 minutes. It's a safe neighborhood. And she said, Mom, don't worry. I got it. I love babysitting.
Yeah, so from what I've gathered, he loved watching his baby brother. He's 2 years old. And any chance that he got to babysit, he loved it. Now, I believe that there are 3 levels to this home. Like there's an upstairs, and then from what I remember, there's another upstairs. So he was on the at least 2nd level where he was playing his game at one point. Just wanted to kind of let you know that because I got confused.
He was reading his book later. I could see he had pulled it out. Oh, Sean is not answering the door. Police and ambulances just went by, and fire trucks, and I was like, my stomach dropped.
So I'm just prefacing a little bit because I don't want anyone to miss the details, okay? So Sean's sister is the one that comes home from school, from practice, so that she can get ready to go see her boyfriend. Her boyfriend's mother was going to pick her up so that she could go watch a game that he was playing or practice or something like that.
The chair wasn't exactly next to him. Please didn't ask many questions. I told them Sean didn't do it, he was killed. That first night, I told them all. I need to see where's my youngest one. He was like an exhausted doll. He opened his eyes, he was all sweaty. It looked like he had been crying. Personally, I think that he woke up from the hustle and bustle, what was happening. I saw all kinds of stuff in the house that was out of place. I froze because I was like, that's a huge handprint on the door. That's not Sean's. Hand was not from the outside, but from the inside. And it was the left hand. I saw some splatters that seemed like small blood things that I asked them to collect. Sean definitely had blood on when I did the picture on his hand, but
yeah, I just wanted to say that oh God, my gut, my stomach was just in shambles when I heard that the 2-year-old had potentially witnessed something horrific, which I do believe that. And I think that poor little boy was traumatized, how they expressed how he was acting and things like that. And he even says something very interesting to the parents about maybe what was going on during the time that his brother was, in my opinion, assaulted. It's just gut wrenching. So like, these are the little things I'm trying to warn you about, just letting you know.
The officer, she washed it off. The belt was tied around my son. Oh.
Did y'all hear that? She washed off the blood on his hands. Washed away evidence. First red flag for me.
Oh, they said, he probably tied it himself and all that. So why there was no DNA on the belt? 4 weeks later, taking fingerprints. 4 weeks later, after we raised hell. 4 weeks later, going around the neighbors asking if they saw anything. I screamed in the hospital saying my son was murdered. There's something really wrong. When I walked into our bedroom, I literally almost walked onto Sean's underwear. They were there. Sean never, ever in his life has taken his underwear off in my bedroom. There's no reason for it. And it was a cross from my husband's clothes, and my husband's drawers were opened up because Sean was dressed in my husband's clothes. So was the ambush in his room then, and then he dragged him, or they fought all the way to our bedroom. So he was interrupted. Did they wrestle to get up the stairs? Did they fight their way up? I don't know. I think that someone saw something, and I think not just one. I think a couple people saw something, but I know there was no real investigation. If you ask the parents to find the person who did it, and we are not investigators, there's a problem. They're asking me to find the person. We don't want to investigate? Just say it.
Let me tell you something. If an investigator told me, sorry, boo, we don't really have the resources, we don't know what we're doing, but good luck and let me know how it goes, I would probably pull a Brandy Neal and threaten somebody. Like, no, we're going to do everything that we can to get this properly investigated. A complaint to the state, Virginia State, conflict of interest, whatever it takes, call the FBI, which is what they're doing right now. But you could not hold me back, guys, from losing my shit. This is absolutely unacceptable that investigators are saying this. This is so wrong. So wrong.
I have a text where it says, it's time to move on and live my life.
Yeah. So that's just, the summary. I'm trying to block in my face. There we go. Lauren, thank you. I probably sound like a chipmunk. Yeah, this is just ridiculous. Look how many comments. 39,000 views, 120 comments. I want to go through the comments. This is where you're going to get the locals and what you're going to see how they feel about things. I'm making sticky notes. I've got about 16,000 because there's more that just keeps coming up in my mind when I'm reviewing this case. It's just awful. So let's see what the comments say. I'm going to do all comments because web sleuthing, you catch the comments before they're deleted because that's where the gold is. All right. That's where the true raw emotions are, the thought processes and stuff. Kimberly says, this is horrible. I've never heard anything about this until today. This was 6 weeks ago. Until when a coworker asked me if I had heard anything about it. I pray that the truth comes out, whoever is responsible. This one has a question. Oh, my heart broke watching this. The audacity of the so-called investigator telling her to move on. Would he or she move on if it were their child? Baby, let me tell you something. There ain't no moving on when you know that there's something wrong. And parents need to be listened to. It's okay to say, I don't care if you're an investigator for the FBI. You're wrong. I know my child. This isn't right. What steps can I take? And law enforcement should be giving those to people. Period. They're not the end all be all the time, even though they have the authority majority of the time. Doesn't mean they're always right. And I ain't afraid to say that. Not only that, horrible in its own right, but literally tampering with evidence, washing blood off the hands and not testing, failing to take prints, failing to document blood splatter, and failing to investigate with neighbors' security cams, and keeping this hush-hush and out of the headlines, which is what they've been doing. The chief of police, I believe, is the one that I'm like severely pissed off about. Him coming out all egoist, we have done a thorough investigation and nothing could be farther from the truth that we have botched this. And I'll show you in a minute. Whew. It's okay. We're going to get this boy justice. True Crime with Eve is on it. Harsh Reality is on it. Whew. But I'm still boiling about it. And it gets worse with the evidence, y'all. It gets worse. I hope the family gets justice. What are the family's legal options? Which is a great question. I feel like the criminals live close to have seen the parents leave them behind. That was one thing that I wanted to talk about, is that I think somebody was watching intently for an opportunity. You know how you hear about these opportunities with missing children being taken at in a quick amount of time? This crime right here was, in my opinion, an opportunity that was taken. And it was very, very, in my opinion, ballsy to think that, they weren't going to be back in time. So this must have been quick. Then my mind shifts to, okay, well, if it was quick, was it a predator waiting and just saw an opportunity? Was he being bullied? Was there someone jealous? So your mind kind of goes in different directions. when more situations arise, right? What could have happened, right? What do y'all think? I'm going to catch up with chat real quick. Heather says, I was literally just going to say burn the station down or whatever Brandy said. She said it. But I don't, in this instance, whew, I would have gone to jail. But, you know, Virginia's probably not tight-knit, obviously, like Idaho. School let out and was watching and listening to conversations. And then the lawn worker, it's a neighbor. Like that's exactly where I'm going. And we'll get into that here in a second about the still shot that one of the neighbors posted on the community page, but wouldn't hand over the video, which I thought was very, very interesting. Yeah, Heather, I agree that maybe that's a potential, serial killer vibes, yeah. Sorry, Cindy, I must have missed your comment. Haven't had enough time to read up on the case. Thank you, Eve, for covering. Absolutely. School let out and watch listening. Oh, okay. Yeah. Yes, they used whatever was around it. Yeah, it doesn't seem like they were prepping for a long time because of the way he was found. It, to me, and I don't know if you guys know exactly how he was found yet, so we'll wait. We'll get into it. A little bit more on the comments because I do appreciate these comments. This lady says, I reached out to Wavy multiple times, which is, I guess, the news station, local news station, and they didn't want the story. We finally got another news channel to take the story last week. Great news. That was 6 weeks ago. So there wasn't a lot of news coverage on this because obviously I'm sure law enforcement's getting calls from news stations and they're like, no, we deemed it a suicide. The family's being ridiculous, blah, 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 blah. So they were like, why would we want to cover that? But there was news coverage that I do appreciate from one of the journalists there. She did an amazing job. All right, so let's go into, I think there was another video that kind of went into the nitty gritty. I thought there was. Guess not. So we're going to read the comment or the Facebook posts. One moment. Isn't he just the most handsome little boy? And you know me, my heart, I have a son, and I do feel like for some reason little boys don't get the notoriety and justice and coverage that they deserve. I've noticed it. So with Summer Wells compared to Michael Vaughn, hands down, Summer Wells' case overshadowed Michael's, and it obviously is not Summer Wells' fault. I'm just saying that's just how it works sometimes. You know, you have a little girl who has been kidnapped, allegedly, reported abducted, and that's like the big, news story. A little boy gets abducted. Some people think, oh, that's probably, nefarious and he's probably not going to come back home. I mean, that's just how it is. That's just how people feel. I've seen it in comments. I've done this long enough to know, right? But for some reason with little girls or girl kidnapping, the Elizabeth Smart coming home and, what was that one in, was it Michigan or Illinois or Indiana? The 3 girls that were chained up, like everybody feels like they, I guess females have more of a chance to come home, right? That studies have been done on it. I'm not lying to y'all. And so I feel like boys don't get the coverage that they deserve. And so I have a soft spot, not only because I have a son, but because I know this. And so he's going to take a lot of focus on my channel until, something happens, because I feel like if no one fights for this, it will never be pushed to reopen an investigation. And it starts with the medical examiner's office. Hi, Afro. He was 12 years old. He just got back from a Disneyland trip. He just got back from vacation. The parents rewarded him for making straight A's and doing so well in school. So why are they saying that he was depressed and it was a suicide? Like, there was nothing to suggest any of this at all. Marty says, it just popped in, might have missed this, but because he was found in his stepdad's clothes makes me think this was a warning or message to the stepdad. I thought of that, Marty. I did. I was like, well, what does the stepdad do? Does he have ties to law enforcement? I think he's in the Air Force or was. So was somebody mad at him, getting revenge? I don't know. Was it a female? Was it a female retaliating? That's not unheard of. You know? Absolutely. Yeah, straight A student, super happy, super loved, good kid. Even the teachers were like, no, nope, there's no way. And they're in the comments in here saying these things. All right, go to the post, go to the post. That's where all the information is. I clicked photos, of course, because I might be a redhead, but I got blonde moments, y'all. I sure do. It's just the way of it. I love this, by the way. Such a good picture. I'm going to ask if I can use that. Lots of comments, lots of them. So 2 days ago, just wanted to put this, I read this yesterday. Thank you for joining us on this journey. Sean's story is far from over and we are just getting started. Your support means the world to us and your shares have told his story all over the world. Keep telling it. We will not stop until we find out what happened. Many more posts coming soon, or many more posts to come, Team Sean. I'm loving this. I'm loving it. All right, here's the post. So there's like subsequent posts that they're doing, post 1, 2, 3, 4, and all that stuff. Let me see if I can go down to the bottom. They do have a TikTok that I've been looking at over and over and over. So this is the Abby Crank, the Virginia Gazette, that did a really good story, an article. I thought they had a video. And you always want to, as a sleuth, right? You always want to get every article that's ever been published, because sometimes, every once in a while, law enforcement, depending on who they talk to, will give that one bit of information too much compared to all the others because they were tired that day or whatever. Always good to bookmark and save, which I'm doing now. Because you never know. A lot of work. Is there a way to go down to the very bottom just with one click? Your girl isn't all that savvy. Is that it? Okay. Jimmy Jams followed this page. Hey, Jimmy Jams. Where's post 1? Anyway. All right, family dynamics. Here's the first one that I can see. I don't know where the first post is. Maybe they deleted it. Or maybe it's the video. But it says, it was a normal day in the Daugherty Rivas household. Rivas. He was the second oldest child, the sister being the oldest, in a blended household that consisted of his mother, Ramona, his stepfather, Jared, and his older sister, Maria, who is 16 and in 10th grade, and his 2 younger half-brothers, who were 5 and 2 at the time. Their 79-year-old grandmother, Via, also lives with them, as she has for the entirety of the military career. So it's a military family. So that's kind of important to think about. Did he have any connections to military where someone was spiteful, wanted revenge? Was there somebody that maybe misunderstood a relationship? Because, you know, like Catherine Knight style evil. Maybe this woman thought she had a relationship and took it too far, right? You never know. So any possibility to put on the table to eliminate's great. So I'm going to put that down. Maybe revenge. Eve, is there any possibility this could have been accidental? Could be. Highly doubtful because of what we know before, the sister found him. Had no signs of depression. He was taking care of his 2-year-old brother, which he loved and adored. It was a last-minute decision for, I believe, the Vija, the grandmother, to go and get a CAT scan or EKG or something, whatever it was. And I just don't see him going, oh, this is my chance. Even though I'm not depressed, I just finished homework. I'm watching my 2-year-old brother. He seemed happy, excited on the cameras that day at school. Right? Did Sean have social media? I'm not sure. He's 12, so I'm not sure how that works. No to a woman because he was carried to swing set. Good point. That he'd be heavy. I see what you're saying. Patty in Pink, aka Mean Sleuth, says, if this is what I think it is, way too high up for my involvement. Right? I feel jealousy in this case, jealousy of this good kid, potentially. I don't know. Was it the parents of another child who is it a neighbor? Is it landscaper? Is it someone who works on homes around the neighborhood? I'm going to show you the aerial view of his neighborhood and see if you can notice the same thing that I notice, because you always want to get the geography of where the crime was committed, right? You'll always want to know like what different roads around the house could somebody come and creep up on? Is there woods, stuff like that? And you'll see what I'm talking about. Sorry, I got to get my tackling fuel because I'm struggling. Okay. So this proud military family lived on Sandalwood Lane in Yorktown and were a tight-knit group who kept to themselves. Let me show you what the neighborhood looks like. I don't want to dox their address, but I don't know if they live there anymore. I do know that they have a house in North Carolina. And I don't know if they live there anymore. I'm just going to say that because of what I found, but I don't blame them. That would be pure torture to live in a house where your son, was potentially murdered and allegedly committed suicide. Just going to put the wrong address. It's Avenue, Yorktown, Virginia. So true. Accidental in terms of hormonal gratification, entering puberty, essentially happy child. Don't know how else to say this while being respectful, right? Totally. Whee! I understand. It's really hard. It's very difficult to be respectful in a sense of what the crime is, right? Like what it's about. And we do try our damnedest, right? But is this the right one? Doesn't look right. Is it? Yeah. Okay. So this is the neighborhood. This is the street. Now, I'm not 100% sure, but because there's a basketball goal right here, I feel like this is probably his house. And the fact that I believe I caught it on, I'm not sure if this is Sean and his mom at an earlier time. I don't know when this was caught, I think in 2017. But my heart broke when I saw this because this could potentially be Sean in 2017 when this was uploaded. And I almost cried because I think that this is their house. I'm pretty sure. I hope I'm not wrong. But you could see that it looks, kind of like, see if it's in here. Let's see. Let's take this off. That it? Yep, that's it. So that might be Sean, or maybe a sibling. So maybe, hopefully, the mom I can send this to her or something if she'd like it. It's just right there for everyone to see. So maybe she would want to take that down. I don't know. I know, pointer lever. It is so appalling. His arms were tightly bound to his waist with a belt. Yep. So it's to me, it looks like a very nice neighborhood. Here's what kind of gets me. All right. See where their house is right here? There's a lot of treesy area back here. A lot. And they could come from any way. Like, there's a street to the left and the right of them. And there's also this little area right here. Right here. I don't know how dense it is, but I'm pretty sure it's probably not irrational to think that somebody could come from any way and get there if they wanted to from the back. And maybe that's how they exited. I don't know. I just thought that was interesting to see that that's how the terrain is, right? Many possibilities. There's a Creeks Farm Park, or Wythe Creek Farms Park. Let's look at that. Kind of maybe can give us an idea of, take a Dramamine, everybody. Let's see what that looks like. Yeah, really nice neighborhood. Really nice. Birdie, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's a whole damn forest. That's what I said. Wow, that's really cool. Virginia always has captivated me by the forestry there. I love North Carolina, and I love Virginia and all that. The surrounding state, South Carolina, it's beautiful. So maybe, I don't know. It looks like it's not too hard to get through there, right, guys? There's a little entry path right here. Look, I mean, there's just so many ways. And it doesn't seem too, I don't know, too hard to get through there. All right. So there's that. Straight A student, things came naturally for him. He was a gifted musician. He had several friends, and when interviewed after his death, they all recalled him to be happy, all of them, and his teachers too. All right. This day in particular, teachers and students interviewed remember Sean laughing in class, being excited, and could not recall anything out of the norm. Ramona, who is the mother, spoke to them all personally, and each echoed the same sentiment, that Sean was not a troubled child and had exuded happiness that day. Right? So that just tells me that typically when, someone is suicidal or has these tendencies, you're going to see patterns for the most part. Now, I know that there are one-offs in the sense of, we don't know what happened. He or she was just gleaming that day, and then they find the suicide note saying they're tired of faking it. But I just don't feel like that's the case here. I don't. I'm always going to leave it open for a possibility until I'm always going to leave it there, but until we get to the details of how he was found and all that stuff, it just makes your mind go, hell no. He was using the bathroom and they found his underwear in the parents' room. Now, I don't know about the bathroom part. I just know that he was taking out the trash because that was one of his chores that, I think he has a timer for his chores, and that was the time to go take out the trash, and that's where his Crocs were flipped around a little bit beside the trash can. But we'll get into it. Suicides do not take this much work. Mm-hmm. Oh, Pointer Lover, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thank you for the $9.99 super sticker. Ooh, I gotta change the font there. But thank you. I appreciate you. And by the way, I do want to, if Harsh Reality is going to go in on a private investigator, count me in, count me in. I'll do whatever it takes. I got a nonprofit that I started called A Voice for the Missing. I will raise funds on this channel and on other platforms to assist in that. So tell Harsh, somebody tell Harsh I'll chip in if, you know, he needs it, for sure. Oh yeah, he did say, Mom, I'm pooping. I got this, about watching his brother, or, you know, yeah. That doesn't sound like a miserable child to me who wants to commit suicide, right? Yeah. There is a petition. I'll link that here in a minute. So throughout the entire week, spirits were high in the house. The week before was spring break, and they had gone on a Disney cruise. So I apologize, not Disneyland, a Disney cruise, which is probably, in my opinion, way better than actual Disneyland. Everyone had the best time. They were on an all high on their experience. They had such an awesome time that on Tuesday evening, Ramona took Sean to renew his passport at the Pecoyson Library because they had booked a second Disney trip for August to Alaska. Wow. I've always wanted to do that. Everyone, particularly Sean, was stoked for the trip. Do you think in your go back to your 12-year-old mind? Now, everyone has different experiences. I mean, we didn't have these kind of things hardly ever. But if somebody were to tell me, God, me going to Six Flags at 12 was like, Don't Stop Me Now, like the Queen song was playing like in my head. We're having a good time. Nothing can stop me from doing this. And I feel like that would be the same case for Sean. There's just no way that all of these good things that are happening and all of these rewards, I don't see suicide at all. No, y'all are awesome. Without you guys, I, cease to exist on this platform. So I think the youngest may have been drugged too. Yeah. They have HOA. So Sandalwood Lane is in the with Creek Farms HOA, an organization known for its pristine lawns, obviously you saw, low fences, and immaculate upkeep. Excuse me. This idyllic neighborhood gave the family, a false sense of security, and they neglected to install a security system. Truth be told, they felt so safe in this house, and they neglected to install. They felt so safe in this house that even doors were seldom locked. Unfortunately, they had just sold the house and were renting back for a few months from the new owners. Okay, so that makes sense now, because remember when I was saying I don't think they live there anymore because of stuff that I found recently. So they did sell it, and they were renting for a few more months, I guess, to go wherever else. I wonder where they were going to move to. While prepping for a move to the Pentagon. So now, yeah, Benadryl. I've already taken it. Or Allegra. Pat Brown said she'd do it pro bono on her channel. That's awesome. That is great. But, if she needs any expenses paid, I will do what I can. They were prepping for a move to the Pentagon. So now my mind is going, okay, maybe he was upset or sad about the Pentagon move. Who knows? I don't know. Was he not looking forward to that? Was he comfortable in the school system that he was in? Gotta take everything into account. What do you guys think? When I moved, like the 6 times I moved around, it hurt every time because I would get close to friends and then have to move away. Sometimes I'd come back, but it was just too late. We didn't have that camaraderie, so I kind of felt like an outsider. I don't know. So many people living on a run roof, including grandma. Yeah. Some families are like that though. You know, some are like that. So I don't think that's a huge deal, but it could be. Military families and straight A student may have felt additional pressures. Yeah. Just trying to keep it all open. Um, so maybe that's a good thing to remember. They were going to move to the Pentagon. They were all sad to end their time in the TAB district, but they were excited for their next chapter in DC. They were set to move in a few weeks. So, you know how I always talk about what was happening, what was going on before a tragic event or a missing child abduction, or, you know, I'm always looking at right before a tragedy happens, what was going on. One, they were going to move. Did somebody know that? Did somebody hear that nearby? Did a neighbor know? Is somebody listening in on their conversations? You know how people are. Hell, there's hackers that can get into your doorbell systems now. So maybe somebody was listening. So maybe somebody planted something where they can hear things. All right. So there is the video. This is an interesting post right here. This kind of gives you the details of what happened that day. Why would someone change into their stepdad's clothes before a suicide? You know what it sounds like to me? Somebody didn't know where the clothes were or whose clothes were where. And that's the closest room they were in. And they just grabbed the clothes and put them on, thinking that maybe it was his clothes. That's what I think. So Sean got off the bus at 3:02. Forgot to write down these timelines. I do have to wrap it up here in about 7 minutes. So I'm going to try to at least get this part out. And then we can do a continuum. So 3:02 p.m., walked to the distance of 2 houses to his front door. Viha, the grandmother, was home watching the youngest brother, but was in a rush. So as soon as Sean entered the house, she told him to watch the toddler, who was already asleep on the couch. So then I'm thinking, okay, maybe the toddler was just already sleepy and groggy when the commotion started, you know. Eve, talk to me, or Val Evans, Pat Brown. Got it. I will. Will do. Sister said she locked eyes with the landscaper when she found him, right? Yep. I live in a mother-in-law apartment attached to my daughter's house. See, it's not too far-fetched, right? So, as soon as Sean entered the house, she told him to watch the toddler, who was asleep, and she exited. Ramona, the mother, had just pulled up to the house to pick Viha up for the medical appointment, and called out to Sean as he entered the house and said she would call him from the car. He was to watch his brother for 1 hour while she took Viha to the doctor. Sean happily agreed. He loved watching the toddler. He said he had some homework to do. Red flag. Why would you want to commit those acts and do homework? That would be the last thing on my mind. Why, who cares? What's the point of finishing homework? Right? And then he was going to complete some chores after his homework and then game with his friends. He submitted his homework assignment online, one of which included him submitting a photo of himself holding up his work at 3:09. He submitted his homework assignment online, one of which included him submitting a photo of himself holding up his work at 3:09. That was very quick. Maybe he already completed it and just finished it up. He was on the bus and he just needed to do a few things and boom. I don't know how it works, because I'm from the day and age where you did your homework and the next day you turned it into the teacher and they graded it and gave it back to you. We didn't have no online submissions. But I don't know how that would work. I thought you just submitted your paperwork like a picture of it. So it's kind of weird. Why would you send a picture of your homework with yourself? I don't know how it works though. Maybe it was like, hey, I did this. Maybe that's what it is. Like you have to prove that you did it. I don't know. I'm far behind on the times. He turned it in, right? Yeah, Heather, I'm not going to put that on the screen, but I agree. Marty says, sorry, I'm stuck on it being staged and meant as a warning, revenge against stepdad. Poor kid. Yeah. So they know you did it. Okay, that makes sense. There was nothing out of place. From the car, Ramona called him a second time. She had just talked to her husband, who said their 2-year-old had been napping for almost 2 hours. All right, that's a long nap, but 2-year-olds sometimes do. Even toddler Eve sometimes will nap for 2 hours at 4. Very rarely. He had to have been really playing hard, but when he was 2, he would sleep for sometimes almost 3 hours because they're growing, you know. So that's not out of the norm. And that was about the time that Miss Toddler Eve went to sleep, about 2, 2 or 3. So Sean got a call from Ramona a third time at 3:27. That's a lot of communication between each other, you know? Sean answered right away. She said that she realized he had been excited to play his games and suggested that Sean bring his brother with him up to the second floor so that he wouldn't have to change his gaming. Sean loved the idea and said that he would get his brother all set up on an iPad upstairs with him. Perfect. She told him where the iPad was charging on the second floor so he could grab it and get everything set up. But first, before he woke his brother up downstairs on the couch, he needed the little one needed a snack. He took some jarred peaches out of the fridge, one of his favorite after-school snacks, and put one into a bowl. This is what the actual picture of the peach that was left. All right, lost my place. Oh, here, I missed this part. Sorry, there's a fruit fly. Ah, ironically, I missed something. So going back to the 2 hours, the little one sleeping for 2 hours, Ramona calls Sean to revise the plan and asks him to wake his brother up, give him a snack, and maybe watch a movie with him downstairs. Sean laughed and said, Mom, I'm pooping. I got it, which is typical 12-year-old talk. And they had a chuckle. His bathroom was on the second floor, so he was on the second floor. So this is, again, when Ramona called a third and final time from the car at 3:27 to get the peach. Here's the peach. Sean's chore was to take the trash out, and we believe at 3:30 p.m. was when the trash was supposed to be taken out. His alarm went off as he was preparing the snack right here, and he went upstairs quickly to complete his chore. He gathered the trash for the 2 upstairs bathrooms, which I would assume takes like what, a few minutes, maybe, and came downstairs to gather the trash in the kitchen. Here's where I feel like he was being watched potentially. He may have been watched for a while. He was seeing, maybe somebody was out watching in a window or something. Let's look at the house again. Where could they be watching? He was in the second floor. Tyler was on the couch. He had to have been watching since he got home at 3:02, watching Viha and the mother going to the doctor's appointment. Where could they be looking? This isn't the house, is it? This one? Sorry, I got the wrong one. This one. So maybe the front windows right here? I don't know, they look kind of blocked off. Maybe the backyard. Maybe they were already in the backyard watching. Catching up a chat. I'd like to know what he was wearing in the picture that he sent his homework with. Agreed. My son is a sophomore. He does online homework from the old days before. Yep, I'm old school. Did the police or family release those details of the crime scene? Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, they went into some detail. And when Mama yelled from the car into the house, did she say, I'll be back in an hour? Or did that info exchange occur via phone? So both. They were both like talking as, Vihal was coming out to say, hey, I got to go to the doctor. And, Ramona was like, I'll give you a call. So I'm sure there was just a quick exchange like, go watch your brother. I'll give you a call here in just a second. And as they were driving, that's when the call was made. So with all the commotion of the kids getting off the bus and the parents and children getting home from school, it would be easy for someone to watch him without being noticed. Yeah. I just don't know. So, yeah, I think they were definitely at least being watched for a while. So he gathered the trash, came downstairs to gather the trash in the kitchen. This is where things get weird. All right. The kitchen trash was never taken out. His Crocs were found next to the trash in the kitchen. I'm assuming he wore Crocs around the house. Some people do not like to be barefoot around the house. I hate it. I actually hate it, especially if it's like a 2-story house. I just like having, because you get that friction if you're wearing socks or you're barefoot, like you get that static. So I get it. I had house shoes when I lived in like a 2-story. So he hated being barefoot. It was a strange thing. He never walked around like that. He couldn't stand it. What happened as he was gathering the trash? This is where I think the ambush happened. He was coming downstairs. Maybe somebody was waiting, like, this is my opportunity now. I've been waiting for him to come downstairs. I don't have a lot of time. Boom. Right? Brother was, I guess, allegedly upstairs at this point now. So it really was a crime of opportunity if you think about it, if that's what happened. Because baby brother, was he upstairs now watching the iPad? Here's the snack, right? This makes a lot of sense. Crime of opportunity. Unfortunately, unbeknownst to him, he set it up that way too. It's not his fault. It's not what I'm saying, but he takes his brother to the second story, does his stuff, gets the trash, comes downstairs. He's all alone. He's all alone now. So that's really, really upsetting. So Sean's 2-year-old brother recalls only that there was a friend chasing Sean. Now that's a big thing, a friend. Now 2-year-olds aren't going to really distinct an older and younger man, maybe. I wouldn't think so. Just someone, right? But a friend, that's an interesting statement. 2-year-old says there's a friend chasing Sean around and punching him. Is there a deranged 12-year-old or middle schooler out there who's jealous? Maybe he was like, yeah, I just got back from my trip on a Disney cruise. We're going to Alaska. We're so excited. We're going to move to the Pentagon. Like, all of these things are happening for me and my family. Is there someone, I don't know, around his age that's jealous? Is that a potential possibility? Probably very unlikely because of how he was moved to the swing set and how he was bound. This is very unlikely to me, but I'm just putting it out there. Maybe it was multiple friends. I don't know. Yeah, but the baby definitely saw something. Why would a 2-year-old make that up? Great point. My Shedlines, why, if a crime of opportunity, would they not harm the little brother? That's not who they were after, maybe. Maybe that's just not their cup of tea. I don't know. It's a good question. How would a jealous kid leave no evidence, right? Right. Well, here's the thing. There was a lot of evidence that law enforcement refused to look at. They were so narrow-minded and so put their blinders on that this was an open shut case of suicide. They neglected to get the handprint, the left-hand handprint on the door in the backyard that goes out into where the swing set is. You know, there was blood on Sean's hand that they washed off. He still had a little bit on him, I think, when he was at the hospital when his mother was, you know, saying her goodbyes. As heartbreaking as that is, like, this is just, there's a lot of levels of bullshit that happened to this poor child's case. So, who is this man? He also says that the man touched his arm, the 2-year-old. Was there someone in the house, and who was it? Now, allegedly, the little boy was found underneath a pile of clothes in the parents' bedroom. I'm assuming the clothes that somebody was maybe ransacking to put on Sean. I need to really get into the nitty gritty of that. I'm not sure yet, but that is just so devastating. Ramona's last call before she entered the appointment was the last time she or anyone spoke to Sean. He never logged in to play Fortnite, which is, I guess, the game he liked to play with his friends. He never took the iPad off the charger for his brother. His Crocs were found upside down next to the trash, and the trash was never taken out. On the counter sat, sat the peach. That was the snack for the little one. Guys. So a lot of people are saying in the comments, because I read it before, that, you know, what about the neighbors, the neighbors, the neighbors? And was there somebody hiding? I see a bully situation. Was there a predator? Was there parents of another child that was wanting revenge on this child? You know, a lot of the same theories going over and over, which is very interesting. So on the next live tomorrow, I'm going to go ahead and schedule it right now. Same time, 2:00 Central. We're going to go over the next part, which is other little details that they found after or during law enforcement's time there and the paramedics, and then after that, and what kind of transpired up until where we are today with his case. I am so sorry to his family. I can't imagine what they're going through. I would love to help in any way, shape, or form I can. I will get a hold of Pat Brown and whoever was in the chat telling me to reach out. I will do that. Just say some prayers for them. We need justice for this little boy. If there's something wrong, it needs to be looked into way more than it has, for sure. Yeah, Crocs upside down by the trash, and the trash was never taken out. But his timer went off. So right then, I think that was the ambush, in my opinion, if there was somebody watching and waiting, right? We know that the toddler was up at the second level upstairs waiting. So that must have been the time when he was coming down, you know, the stairs to the kitchen. That must have been it, in my opinion. Justice for Sean, yes. Oh, absolutely. I appreciate that. No, you know what? Sean's life is amazing. It needs to be, he needs to get justice, and his family needs to get justice for this tragedy, you know? Did they find clothes he was wearing before being changed into stepdad's? That was a question that I wrote down because I don't know that. That's a good question. Where was his clothes? Maybe did they take them? What was he wearing that day? And I'm sure somewhere in these comments, if I sleuth hard enough, I'll find that. Maybe there's a teacher that said he wore this and that, or maybe the mom has already expressed that information somewhere. I just haven't found it yet. But if I find it, I'll make a video and let you know. Oh, thank you guys. I appreciate you being here. So again, 2:00 tomorrow. We're going to go over the other half or 2/3 of this because we gotta get more information out there, period. All right, thanks guys. As you know, I say, drink your water. It's Halloween time. Decorate your house. I got my decorations out. If you haven't seen my community tab photos, go check them out. They're pretty cool. Mr. E did a great job. Yeah. Drink your water, hug yourself, your babies, your fur babies, your grandbabies. All of these babies need justice. and I will see you on the next live. Justice for Sean Daugherty. Bye, guys.
What?